the journey from knowledge to wisdom, right? And I don't want us to forget that in between knowledge and wisdom is understanding. Take a person who goes to a conference about how to close on real estate, right? They go to this workshop, information is great, but then they realize that they don't want to do real estate. So in their minds, they feel as though what they have just learned is no longer relevant. When in fact, that information, that knowledge, if they have a full comprehension of it, they will now be able to see they can transfer that knowledge from real estate, the same concepts, and apply it to auto sales. Sales is sales. So when you truly understand, right? When we truly understand, that means that we now have an understanding of how we can take this information and I can apply it to multiple areas. How you can take a skill and you can now apply it to different areas of your life. That is when we truly have an understanding. Because now when you go and apply it, you're not applying it to just one concept. You're not applying it to just one theory. You're now being practical and you're applying it to different areas, because even though you learned it for one particular industry, one particular field, it is the same exact thing in another industry. You just now have to just tweak it. But so many people don't even get to that level of understanding. That's why they don't see the relationship. The skills that I learned in high school. See, a lot of people don't know. I did an internship at Rockefeller Records and Interscope Records. I was at Interscope longer though. But when I was at Interscope, I worked in public relations. I was taking the class and I'm up here writing press releases, and they're like, yo, how did you know how to write a press release like that? Oh, because I was writing press releases for Rough Riders and Eve, back in the day. Well, I was drafting them. Right? I was writing them. My mentor would be like, draft this, and then she'll make the finalizations. And she didn't make a lot of changes. Not to toot my own horn, but this is me 15, 16 years old. So that means that somebody's paying attention, right? So now, fast forward, I have not used this, and that information was there. It was kind of like lost, but it was good to still have it. I retained it. I remembered. I never forgot it. I didn't throw it away like some people do. People throw it away. They're like, well, I'm never going to need this, because you never know when you're going to need it. So when I started to lose weight and people started to encourage me, Tanisha, you should share your story. Share your story with the world. And I'm like, well, how do I share my story? How do I actually do that? Well, I had to go into my vault, my knowledge vault. And I went and I started to contact all of the different magazines. And I started to research, just thinking about how we were researched in that time in 2013, 2014 versus back in 1999, 2000, right? So I just took the same information and now I just use additional knowledge that I had of internet research so that I can connect the dots in 2013, 2014. And that's how I was able to get my own story, never paying a publicist. I got into international publications. I got into major publications sharing my story and feature with pictures, featuring my story, print. And that was an understanding of how I can take this vintage information, because at the time it felt like that was a long time ago, but it was now taking this vintage information, this knowledge that I was just sitting on, not using it, not applying it, but I had an understanding of how I can now apply it in 2014. How I can apply it in 2021. So that is how we go from knowledge to wisdom.